Hey traders, John Howell here. I wanted to talk about the actual gold and silver mining stocks in today's video. A bit of just a technical analysis update in the markets, what I'm seeing right now. And I'm definitely seeing some very interesting things that I want to share with you when it comes to some indicators that I look at when it goes to the gold stocks. Very interesting. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, before I start guys, I'm gonna give you a free membership access to my trading course. I used to charge for it, as you guys know, but I'm giving you a free membership. So if you haven't actually got access to that, go to johnsfreegift.com. I'm only doing it for a short period of time frame. And again, it's free guys, so go get access to that, johnsfreegift.com. You can see it on the screen. There should be a link in the description. Go get it. Now guys, let's actually go through the silver and gold first, and then we'll start to build. From there. Now, the interesting thing that I'm seeing here when it comes to gold, and gold has just recently opened this morning as I'm doing this recording, and we can see that on a technical basis, we've had the good old DB, the double bottom. So we have a bit of a double bottom through here, very nice sort of a dibby, all right, double bottom, and then now we actually started to rise up through there. So bit of a rise through here, as you can see, and then now we had a bit of a rejection off here, came back down, rallied up, and then had a bit of a pullback, and now we're holding through here right now. So looking at everything right as I'm seeing is, I wouldn't be too surprised, even if we did get a bit of a downward movement through here, I would not be too surprised to actually start to see gold start to move up. Now, on an absolute short-term basis, the key for me, the gold, the sign that I want to see that gold's likely to continue up to 1820 on a short-term basis would be a breaking of this trend line here. Would be a breaking of that. Now, why that trend line? What generally happens in the markets is that when we go through these swings and then pullbacks, and then swings and then pullbacks, as soon as we break the short-term downward momentum, we're generally ready to go for another run. So let me explain what I mean here. So as you can see, we had a move up to the upside, and then if I draw a trend line from there, and as you can see, I'm drawing it all the way down through where? I'm trying to get most of the touches from there to there. I'm trying to get the touches from there. Let me actually just remove that. So you get to touch there, reject there, almost rejection all through. So you can see a lot of rejection all through here, a lot of rejection, and then it came back down. Look at this here. As soon as we got back above this level, notice how that changed the tune, right? So we had this pullback, then we got back above this level. Notice how it changed the tune of this stock, and now we went through another what? Another nice move up. Then we went through a bit of a short-term pullback. Same sort of thing. Bit of a downward trend line. Actually, no, that's not the same there. And then we continue to rose. So we rose up, and now we're getting a bit of a short-term pullback, and now we actually got a couple of touches, as you can see. One touch here, one touch here, one. So the market rejecting here. So I would definitely want to see if gold can get back above this sort of short-term 1780 level, then yeah, we're probably likely to see a nice move up towards the 1800 level, or 1810, 1820 when it comes to gold. So that's absolutely short-term basis there when it comes to gold. And so that's the different section I'm looking at there. Same for silver as well too. Silver has been in a very nice upward trend through here, but you can see silver is actually pretty much right at that level of support. We're isn't it interesting? We're actually just below that trend line now, where we are. So it'd be really interesting to see whether we do hold and pop back up. Once again, the key for me is to see silver break above this 2650 level. Once we can get that, then we're probably off to the races to around about this next resistance up here, which is that sort of 28, 25 level. So that's sort of the key levels I'm looking at there when it comes to the silver market. Now also guys, one thing I'm noticing here as well too is on an absolute short-term basis, I'm noticing that we have this bit of a downward sort of line through here as well too. So somewhere around about there. So you can see that this sort of triangle pattern that we're squeezing up into, we came down, and we had a lot of rejection points here. We had a bit of a rejection points all through here, and now notice how the market rejected here, and then rejected here on this day, rejected it, and rejected this trend line coming down. So right now we're actually holding this level here, and we're below this trend line, which is actually a bit of a short-term weak sign. But for the bulls to really take control of silver, we really need to see the bulls get back above this trend line. As you can see, we're actually holding below this trend line now. And so therefore we actually may get a bit of a short-term downward side. But once again, guys, for the bullish case scenario, I want to see this thing get back above 26.50. Once we can do that, then we're probably likely to start to see a nice move to the upside. So that's what I'm seeing through there, guys. Let's actually have a look at the GDXJ, and what I'm seeing here is a bit of a nice pullback through here when it comes to it. So we had this high point up through here. Let's actually bring up my good old trend line tool. So we had this low, we had this lower high, we had this low, bit of a slight lower low, and now we ran up to make this sort of high here, and now we're actually breaking down to where we are here. So the question is, are we going to develop a higher low? Question mark right here. So is this going to be a higher low in the market? That's the thing we need to keep an eye for, to keep a watch for, to see what's really going on in these markets right now. Now the key for me that I want to see is, when it comes to the GDXJ, is I want to see few things here. Firstly, I want to see the GDXJ hold where we are right now, which is this 50% Fibonacci level retracement. If we can hold here, then we're probably going to be off to the races, and we're probably likely to start to see some nice moves. Also, on the second scenario, what I want to see is the market break a short-term downward trend line. So what I mean by this is that we had this move up from here to here, and so that's that 50% fib. Actually, let me just draw a little box through there so we can see. That's the 50% fib level. And if I just take this off through here, now look at this here. So if I draw a trend line from there to there, and I draw it from that point there to that point there, right? As you can see, that the market bounced here, bounced there, bounce, closed above it, closed above it, closed above it. As soon as we closed below it, this sort of momentum on the upside has now weakened, and now we've actually broke. As soon as we broke below this sort of close below, now guess what? We now started a bit of a short-term downward move. So the same thing applies for this downward trend. As soon as we can start to get something, let me actually see if I can get a trend line here that's pretty close. Let me actually remove this trend line so I can get a focus on this. So if I'm going to draw it, I'm going to draw it from there, probably from there to there, I'm going to say, yep, there. So what I'm looking at here, look at this here. Notice how this day here ran up, bounced off it, came down. Ran up, bounced off it, came down. Next day, nothing. Next day, ran up, came off it, bounced down, down. Right. So if I'm now looking at on a short-term base on the GDX, one thing I want to see is that if we can hold this sort of around 47 level, and then we start to get back above this level here, which is this downward momentum line, then that's probably likely to start to see us run back up to this major long-term trend line through there. I hope you guys are following me there. I know I'm going through a lot here in this video, but I'm just breaking down step by step for you guys a bit more when it comes to short-term. This is obviously short-term momentum and how I gauge the momentum swings. And sometimes the market is absolutely beautiful. Like if you can see back here, look at this here. So we had a beautiful, nice move up. Came down, bounced. Look at here. As soon as we broke this, as soon as this day came here, guess what? This short-term upward movement has now come to an end, and then down we go. Look at this here. And then if I draw a trend line from there to there, as an example, then we broke it, and then we went from a run. As you can see, from there to there, when we broke it, went for a run, and so on and so forth, right? So the market does this time and time, and time again. Sometimes you don't get very, very clear moves like this, but when you do, you can see every time we had a move up, then we broke it, we went for a bit of a short-term pullback, and then we broke it, we went for a short-term, this is a short-term momentum changing, all right? Sort of indicator that I like to use. Short-term momentum changing. As you can see, it's short-term momentum changing. As it closed below here, short-term momentum changing. So if it actually starts to get back above this level here, then we're probably likely to start to see short-term momentum changing from down to back up. So I hope that helps you out there, guys. I know I'm going through a lot in this video, but just trying to share with you a lot of stuff that I've got in my head when it comes to these last 16 years of experience. Same for the GDXJ. Now the GDXJ, as you can see, I've got right at this level. So we have made this high low back here, rallied up, came back down. We have made this high low through here. So once again, for me to see this thing starting to change, I'd want to see a breaking below momentum. And so I would see that, is it going to be that one there? Let's actually zoom right in so I can get a bit more of a closer view here. So is it going to be that one there? We're only get one touch here, so I can't really use that one. Let's actually see if I use this one here. Now that one's better. Notice how this one here is a lot better. Now why? Because if I drew this one here, guess what? I'm only getting this touch here and then one bounce. It's not really valid, is it? So we're not really getting a lot of touches. So I'm not really getting a valid trend line there to use for a short-term momentum swings, as I was saying before, right? So this one here, look at here. It rejected it there. It rejected it this day here, rejected it. Then the next day came up, rejected that line as well too, and then now down, right? Down. So if we get it back up, if we hold here, 50% Fibonacci level, and then we get back above, then we could probably likely to start to see a nice move back up as well too. So as I said before, guys, these short-term swings in the markets are pretty powerful. And once again, if I just drew like a nice sort of let's go line. Cool, right? So let me actually draw this here, right? So as soon as we look at this, this is the same sort of thing. And if I'm just going to draw some trend lines here for a minute, you'll be able to see what I mean through here. So you can see here with the trend lines, I just drew on the screen there, you'll be able to see sort of short-term momentum sort of swings. And actually, let me actually bring this chart up here for a minute, and I'll go from scratch again, just so I can share with you sort of what I'm seeing through here. So if I go from this level here, this actually major level coming down, you can see that we actually had this breaking here, but that's probably not the main thing there. The main thing here would be, actually, you know what? Let's actually go back to that chart there, because I had a lot of things on this chart here. So let me take that off the screen. Let me take that off the screen, and then let me actually just draw in some trend lines here. So I'm going to draw in. Actually, I'm going to draw in. The first line is going to be from there to there. All right, and now what I want to do is I want to change this color for you so you can see. Let's actually change it to a purple, and I'm going to make that a little bit thicker, just a little bit thicker. And so now I'm going to then create this parallel trend line, and so I'm going to create a parallel trend line, basically the exact same angle, slightly the same, and I'm going to create the parallel trend line. And again, it's not the exact same through there, so I need to just change that for a minute. Right, so I'm going to just bring this up through to here. Again, I'm just trying to find the shorter term momentum levels on these swings, so I'm going to use that there to that there, and I'm going to bring that down through there to there. I'd probably use that one there as a bit of a short-term momentum. And now you can see from the downside, but now if I change this again from the down, now I'm going to change this from down to up, and now I'm going to change this up color to, let's actually change this to a green here. Gone through a bit of a course with you guys right now, bit of a technical analysis course here. So as you can see, that's the green to the upside. Let's actually take this off the screen, so I don't want too much on the screen there. And then if I create another parallel trend line from there to there, and then if I bring this up from there to there, as you can see, that was also the momentum on the upside. Now as soon as it broke this here, we went through a bit of a change on the downside. So you can see every time especially when the market does this very nicely, you start to see very good short-term momentum sort of changing periods. And so you can see that as the market came down through here, a lot of rejections, and then as soon as we got back above it, we started a short-term movement to the upside. And then as soon as let's actually bring that from there to there. As soon as we broke below, we went through a bit of a short-term movement on the downside. And then as soon as we broke back up, we actually went for a nice movement, continued staying above it. And as soon as we got back below this trend line, guess what? Then the momentum is now changing, and then we went through a bit of a pullback on the downside. So once we start to break above this level here, this downward sort of pullback we're getting right now. And once again, let me actually just change that for a minute to the one that I actually want to have on there, which will be this one right here. Yeah, let's actually just use this one right there. That'll do. Oh, my trend line's not working on me. I'll just use that one there. There we go, that'll do. So as soon as if we can hold here and then we actually break back above, we're probably likely to go for a nice move, and it's probably going to break above this level here as well too, because in the mix of all of this, we're developing what? Now guys, I'm giving you a bit of a technical analysis, deep, advanced sort of training here right now. I didn't plan to, but I just wanted to share some stuff with you. As you can see here, now we're doing what? And overall with this here, we're doing what? We're now developing high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We're probably likely to start to see something like that. But within that, we can see the short-term momentum swings and so on and so forth. So there we go, guys. I hope this helps you out.